Good morning and welcome to St. Peter's Sunday Meditation. I thought we'd look at a psalm today. But first, let's start with a prayer. Lord, you understand us. You know our every thought. Our brain is not a mystery to you. Enter into our mind, Lord. Guide and direct our thoughts. Be before us when we speak. Beside us when we act, within us when we listen to you, that we might possess the wisdom born of love, for you are love, the love which understands everything. Amen. I've been watching the news quite a bit this week, and I've been appalled by the firestorms and floods that are happening all over the world. And the sad thing is, that it's the fault of humankind. For centuries, we've been exploiting and destroying this beautiful place that God has given us to live in. And all because of greed and arrogance, thinking that everything's there for our benefit. We've given no thought to the wonderful creatures, large and small, that God created to inhabit this world with us. It was humans who decided that gold was valuable and then went on to destroy whole areas of the planet to extract it. It's the same with oil or peat. Peat stores more CO2 than a huge forest. And people are digging it up to put on their gardens. What are we doing? This amazing Creator has given us such a wonderful world. Why do we want to destroy it? Did you know that every year a tree of whatever kind creates absolutely, from scratch, 99% of its living parts? The water that it lifts up its trunk can climb 150 feet in an hour. And in full summer, the tree can and does heave a ton of water every single day. An elm can make as many as 6 million leaves in a single season. And did you know that there are 228 distinct muscles in the head of a caterpillar? God created those. Doesn't it prove just how much he cares for his creation, about us? And doesn't it make us want to praise and thank him for that care and love, and take care of what he's created? In Psalm 145, the writer talks about meditating on God's wonderful works. And when I was at my caravan a while ago, I was sitting watching Barn Owl, who must have had young to feed as he was out in the daytime hunting. As I watched him, I found myself praising God and thanking him for the beauty of the countryside around me. I just had to, because I just felt his presence there with me. In the trees, in the birds, and the song of the birds, it was all there. And I realise that it's easier to be aware of God in a place like that than in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But having said that, God's more than evident in the violence of a thunderstorm or an erupting volcano. Because when you see them on film, it just brings to mind how amazing God is and how he brings order out of chaos. This awesome God, who's there in the storm and the violence, has made himself available to us, just as he did to me in the tranquility of the countryside. He makes himself available whenever we need him, both through the storms and the peaceful times. This whole psalm is a catalogue of wonder and grace that we can expect from our God. And it calls on each generation to tell the next to celebrate God's abundant goodness and to sing joyfully about his righteousness. But we get bogged down with trivialities and making our way in the world, don't we? Basically, the psalm says this: the Lord is gracious and merciful, but people are out to get what they can and look out for number one. The Lord is slow to anger, but people get angry at the smallest things. The Lord is rich in unchanging love, but people give love with conditions. They give it when they want to, and their love can change. They take it away just as easily as they give it. The Lord is good to everybody, but people are good to those who are good to them or can do something for them. God's compassion is over all he has made, but mostly their compassion is in short supply. Mostly they care about themselves. The Lord's kingdom is an everlasting kingdom and will last through all generations. Kingdoms of people last until the next group of people come along and take over. We praise and worship God by our actions as well as our words. The psalmist says that God upholds all those who fall down and lifts up those who are bowed down. Can we truly say that we do the same? When we become upset by petty grudges or imagined slights, or cast down by temporary failures, foolish words and silly deeds, we lose our sense of proportion. We forget God's mercy, and our cup becomes half empty rather than half full. We do, in fact, become the poor in the land of plenty, as the psalm says. Jesus told us that he came to give us not just life, but life in abundance. And we have to learn to live in that abundance. Hope, peace and joy will only find themselves at home in this world when we bow down before God and give him the love, worship, devotion and thankful praise he so richly reserved by taking care of our environment, his world. Jesus said, if we don't praise and thank God for all his wondrous works, then the very stones will cry out in praise of his name. The ancient Celtic Christians had a prayer for just about everything, from bathing the baby to lighting the fire to setting out on a journey. Here's a Celtic prayer about God's world. There's no plant in the ground, but is full of his virtue. There's no form in the strand, but is full of his blessing. There's no life in the sea, there's no creature in the river, there's naught in the firmament, but proclaims God's goodness. I think we should say amen to that, and let's start taking care of this wonderful world he's given us. Let's do our bit. Amen. It's nice to spend time with you. Hope we see you again. Bye.